So hello and welcome everybody to our first podcast in this series for new presidents of Rotary clubs, especially in District 7910. We welcome you to this discussion and hope that you'll be with us for many more as well. My co-host today is Mary Foerster. Hi, Mary.
Hello.
Mary is a real estate agent in Westford, and she is the brand new president of the Westford Rotary Club.
Yes.
So welcome, Mary. And
you.
she will have lots of questions for our guest. And our special guest today is Bo Daley. Hi, Bo.
Hello.
So Bo is the continuing president of the Blackstone Valley Rotary Club, and we will learn more about his journey of being a president of Rotary Club in just a few minutes. So Bo, would you give us a little introduction to yourself and tell us about your adventures as a president of a Rotary Club?
I've had lots of adventures. I've had the privilege of being a president now for two different clubs, the Metro Providence Club out of Providence, Rhode Island, and now the Blackstone Valley Rotary Club out of, really out of Whitensville, but it started as the Uxbridge Rotary Club. The club's about 100 years old, just in a couple of years. I haven't been around for that whole time, but the club has done very well. It's had its heyday at 35 to 50 members, and when I came on board 3 years ago, we had 3 active and 2 non-active members. We're up to 16 now, so we're doing very well. We're flourishing, and very excited to be part of it all.
Great, and I think that's a curve that many Rotary clubs have gone through, especially ones that have been around for nigh on to 100 years. Because they were, as you say, strong 35, 40 members, something like that. And then they began to sort of age out, as the saying goes, and didn't refresh its membership as rapidly as it needed to do. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you've seen in your club, about how that dwindled down and how you've managed to revive it?
Yeah, I could talk to that. So, we have 2 members that have been with the club for one for I think about 6 years and one for 43 years. So it's great to have them there. They help with the precedence of certain events that we do and certain actions that we take as a club. But they're also, I think the key part of it is they're very open to new ideas. So they're not, I think they've just seen so many like-minded members, kind of fall off. And now they're very open to, new ideas. The goal is really to get people comfortable with, again, the idea of leadership. So we're a new club, because we're kind of a restarted, revitalized club. So it is like having a brand new club, right? So you're what do you do with a brand new club? I mean, Ken can certainly speak to that, but we are putting those things in place because we don't have those systems in place just yet, and of course, new ideas, new club type of ideas, and we're just installing them as we go, and that's really the important part. Is that everybody knows how we do it now. However we did it before was how we did it before, and everybody understands this is how we do it now and going forward.
Right.
Did you have a year did you know for a whole year what you wanted to do before you became club president? Were you prepared? Was there a succession plan for you?
I walked in the door and they said, you'd make a great president. So I had come, I have great experience. I was with, my first club was the Westboro Club. And, they're an incredibly vibrant club with, 50 something members, I think at this point. And with a large percentage of those members active. I was able to, see, I was membership chair there. I was, I attended the board meetings, and, if I had stayed in the Westboro area, I most likely would have been president at some point. So I was ready. And when they said, are you willing to do this? I said, yeah, absolutely. I'll take this role and run with it. As long as you trust me to, communicate with you and make sure that you're good with those changes, and we move forward with some changes, because we need to change in order to get more members. And they listened, thank goodness, and here we are. We're getting there.
How did you create your vision for the club the first year you were president or president-elect? Did you create your own vision and then ask people to participate in it? Or did you use some kind of strategic planning among your small group to create the vision for the club for the year?
That's a great question. So I guess the question is, what should we have done and what did we actually do? That's the real question.
That was a further question. You got my question.
Obviously a strategic plan is the best way to conduct business and the best way to, get that long-term plan down and goal orientate going forward. But I was very fortunate. My wife and I went to several international conventions, and we gained a lot from going to those conventions, gained a lot from the district conferences. All of the trainings on, instituting change and what is going to bring membership to your club. Like, what does your club need to look and act like and feel like in order for someone to walk into the door and say, I want to be part of this. I want to make changes with this, and I want to grow with this. Because if they're walking in and saying, what's going on here? Like, I have no idea. Why do I want to be part of this again? Well, if that's their first question, you're not going to retain them. You might convince them to come in the door, but then are they going to stay for the long haul? So hopefully we've kind of created that environment where there's enough energy and enough value that people really want to stay.
Yeah, so that was an issue that I had. First of all, it was a very lazy year. I didn't know what I was supposed to do as president-elect. And then I thought, by some magic wand, something's going to happen on July 1st. And I didn't even think about like the carryover of the agenda. But we had an opportunity to apply for a grant. And so I did a lot of studying about what the club has done over the last couple of years. I was able to kind of see it. So that, okay, so we have some ability to do continuity on a few of these issues. But the board asked the other day for a strategic planning session, which I wanted to do, but I was reluctant because I didn't want to impose it on them. So it was really a gift, a true gift, when they said, hey, let's do the questions you're asking really are about strategic planning. Let's have a session. And so it's kind of like the back door into doing it right, and so as you say, the next time will be better.
We have a couple of other people with us who have been presidents or are presidents. If you want to ask a question, Ken.
I'm interested in the co-presidents because now I've been a president 3 times in a row now, and I've already determined I'm not going to do it again. So whether somebody steps forward or not. So that co-president, so obviously it's acceptable by Rotary to have 2 presidents. Okay,
yes,
that's good news. That's very good news.
We actually have one club that has 3 co-presidents.
Really? So that's
yeah, but it's an opportunity to take someone by the hand and say, come on, I'll work with you and you'll learn the ropes.
I like that idea a lot because I have somebody that I am keeping in mind for the president, but I don't think she'll feel comfortable, be ready if I'm co-president with her. So I'm wondering now, how do you split up the responsibilities?
Yeah, I would. So she is also president-elect. So whatever you would assign to president-elect, you would assign to the co-president. Hopefully that president is going to stay for the next term. A lot of clubs have been moving to a 2-year term, just because there is a little more continuity that way. And I find that it does help, and it's less burdensome for that incoming president, where, you know, that second year you can kind of hand hold the president-elect a little bit more.
Okay.
But you know, as far as, you know, everybody has their thing, right? You want to make sure that even if it's generally your thing, if it's their thing, you let them do their thing, right? So I've kind of let go of the reins on a couple areas, you know, event planning, you know, membership, you know, those are my things that I like to do. But if I took it all, they'd keep me as president, number one, and you know, the co-president wouldn't feel like they're engaged and you know, doing their thing.
So the other thing that is interesting, you switched from a lunch club to a breakfast club.
We did. You know, it's just in thinking about it. I mean, I'm so impressed by lunch clubs that are surviving. You know, in today's world, it's so hard to get away for lunch. So to have a successful lunch club, it just boggles my mind. But you know, it being an 8:20 start, you know, it has helped a lot of people be able to make it and still, you know, make it to work. It's easier to get to work a little late and not get out of your groove through the rest of the day, right? You take that short lunch or whatever you do. And but back in the day, that worked, right? Because everybody was a business owner. You know, everybody had you know, different, you know, it was just a different environment.
Right. Well, it's an interesting switch. I mean, I came from a club, that Merrimack Valley Rotary Club, and they were a breakfast club forever. I always thought it was a good concept, but there are, no matter what time you pick, there's going to be some people that can't make it. So how is that working out for you now? All the members accepting it?
Well, I mean, you know, again, there were 2 active members at the time. And, you know, they were the first people I asked, obviously, and they said, yeah, you know, we can do that. But, you know, if you have a big group and you have successfully convinced 20 people to show up at lunch every day or every week, you know, and you then decide to move to a breakfast meeting, you're going to see attrition. You're going to see those that just can't do that time frame. They've always done lunch. They want to do lunch. So you're definitely going to see attrition. You just have to make sure that you're going to get the gains after that, right? So is it worth it to move to breakfast and then get the gains? Metro Providence, where I was president prior to this club, they're an evening club. So it's, you know, and there's no dinner involved. There's no food involved. It's, you're there, you're doing your business, and you're maybe having a drink, right? And that's how it was when we were there as well. And we enjoyed that. So Lynn and I, my wife, who was president after me there, so she has the experience. So again, it was easy to turn over and say, hey, you want to be president? Because she has that experience as well. But does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, once again, no matter what time you pick, I mean, a breakfast club, you got problems getting people who have to bring their kids to school and stuff like that. And of course, the lunch, I agree with that. Can't understand how lunch even works anymore. But I like the evening idea also. There are some clubs in the world that meet as late as 8 or 9 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So how do you keep the spirit kind of up? I've been to clubs where it's just very serious. It's all serious. And to me, this is a volunteer thing. This is an opportunity to get to know people and things like that. What experience do you have in kind of keeping the spirit fun or light or engaging?
Ken, do you want to take this one or? Shall I?
Oh, it's all yours.
He
It's
moves
all
to
yours.
Columbia.
Well, go somewhere warm, and then that'll make it very
Go to the
fun.
warm, yeah.
Colombians know how to have a good time, I'll tell you that. But yeah, no, I mean, Bo, it's all yours. Like, I can answer it, but it's all yours, Bo.
Yeah, I mean, so we don't have a speaker every meeting. So our breakfast meetings are, there's an agenda, but it's casual. And, for our club, again, just following what we learned at International, right? So we took away the happy dollars. We did that in Metro Providence too. We do a happy moment. So we'll all ask each other, but there's no, I think the youth today, and that, if we're aiming to diversify and get some folks in that are on the fresh out of college side, they're not apt to take out money out of their pocket, right? So that's the first thing that's going to say. So already I think we've got a higher level of fun in that way. It's casual, it's fun. The topics are light. Not that our topics are heavy during our quarterly meeting, but we'll have a speaker that is that might cover food insecurity, which isn't exactly a light subject. So we don't do any of the formalities. We don't sing a song. We have our breakfast and have some coffee. Coffee does help. Drinks, I find at any time of day, whatever type of drink helps. But the coffee's nice. We're all enjoying the conversation, and you bring it around the table as many times. But again, we're a smaller club, so we have 8 or 9 people that come to our meeting every 2 weeks. By the way, we went bi-weekly too, so we're no longer weekly. That was a big change.
Wow.
It's easier to just go around the table than to I've been in the big clubs where I'm at my table with the people that sit together all the time. So that dynamic is very different than what we have. So how would I handle it there? I don't know the answer to that, because we don't have that problem yet.
Do you do the pledge or the 4-way test or anything like that?
So at the quarterly meeting, we will do the 4-way test. We don't do the pledge. We don't do any sort of invocation or anything like that. So we're just again, we keep it pretty light and open. I'll never forget just walking into. So I used to do a lot of road shows for Rotary. So we did international. We were out there looking for clubs to join us for international projects, and walking into one club. And, obviously I'm not going to name names, but it was a very specific prayer in the beginning of the meeting, and I just which followed my religious beliefs, but I just couldn't imagine walking into that club and not being, Christian, right? So it was a very specifically Christian prayer, and in my mind at that point in time, I said, we're non-religious, so this doesn't make sense to me. And if I was trying to come in new, even though here I am of the same religion, it was it would have been difficult for me to join that particular club, just because I know in my mind that if I'm bringing a guest that doesn't believe the same thing, that would have been very difficult for us to really engage that guest, right? Because that right off the bat, that guest is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
I actually applaud you for ending the prayer, because that always bothered me, because we are non-religious, and therefore a prayer does not belong in a Rotary Club meeting, regardless if it's universal or not. I just don't think it belongs there. So it was always bothersome to me to have a prayer. And imagine too, I'm a global club, so there's no Pledge of Allegiance. We have no country we support.
Yeah.
Right. And Ken, clearly we should have a program specifically aimed at your kind of club too. Bo, let me ask you, where do you meet?
So we meet at a cafe. There is talk of potentially changing the venue because, as we get larger, it's just hard to hear. You're in a public place, even though they make space for us. It is ideal to be in a more private conference room type of situation.
Right.
It's tough because a lot of times the available spaces are places like, specific, churches or senior homes or, different types of things like that, which again, paints a picture before they even walk through the door and give you a chance, right?
Right.
It's very specific. It's trying to find a good location that is marketable is the issue. So we'd love to
Right.
get into something where we can bring in some donuts and coffee and have our meeting, but trying to find a place like that is hard.
Yeah, my home club has been struggling to find a place with a function room because we do tend to be 15, 20 people. And as you say, to do that in an open restaurant is nigh on to impossible. So finding a hotel that's not going to charge you an arm and a leg, or finding some public space that's non-denominational is a real challenge these days. Not very many restaurants in my area have function rooms anymore.
Right.
There's just not that much space.
And Joyce, you know where I'm coming from too. You have to make it's important to us that it's accessible.
Yeah, accessible, yes.
Right.
Great point. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
There's a lot of boxes to check there.
So Bo, what kind of communication system do you use among your members? Just Club Runner, or do you use some other system to connect?
In that way, we're a little old school. So believe it or not, so we do just a Monday newsletter, it's as simple as that. Just gives everybody, hey, this is what's going on this week. This is what's going on in the future. It has all our events lined up at the bottom. And then it has all our social media links at the bottom as well. So we don't tend to communicate via social media just because, I think it's limiting to people as well. There are people that don't use social media,
Yeah.
right? So you don't want to say, hey, this is how we communicate through social media, that thing that you don't use, we use that. So it's the same as a lot of things. It's just, you want to be, available to all your potential members and current members, right?
So it's a vanilla email. Is that right?
You can throw some pictures in there. It's pretty.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's very, very simple. I think it's been working, and it's addressed to hello, Rotary Club of Blackstone Valley and friends of the club.
Wonderful.
So it goes out to potential members. If you've come once, you're getting it. And, at the bottom, it says, if you do not wish to receive this anymore, please email Bo Daley.
Right.
Is there a way to communicate? Because obviously with BCCs, there isn't much communication. So they want to get back to you.
They can reply to me, and there's no danger of replying to all. So they can specifically reply back, hey, Bo. So it's a good method.
Good.
Everybody has email, and everybody uses email. So that's definitely something it's common.
Good. Very good.
Great.
Are you doing any social media at all? In terms of attracting members, are you doing anything on social media?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. As much as we should be. No, I don't think that's ever, you can always do more, right?
Right.
But
what are you doing? What are you doing? What kind of?
We're doing Facebook and LinkedIn. So those are our two outlets for social media.
And just regular, like announcements from your newsletter? What is the nature of the outreach at that point?
Well, like we had our installation last week, and we just posted up there that coming in with a splash. Actually, Lynn and I jumped in the pool, so we did it in front of the swimming pool, and then I just being the ham I am, I leaned back and she was holding me, and then she like pulled me back in, and then I just jumped in. So, and then she was inclined to jump in as well. So
Wow.
we started the Rotary year off with a splash. It was the headline.
This is the attitude. This is the energy I was talking to you about. This is great. That is wonderful.
I want to jump in really quickly, and I apologize for being late, folks. My name is Mike.
Sure.
I'm with the Rotary Club of Uxbridge. Hi, everyone. So I'm curious, Bo, in terms of social media, do you find that LinkedIn versus Facebook, like where do you find more engagement? I'm just curious because our club doesn't have a LinkedIn. We have Facebook, Instagram, but LinkedIn's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting the business folks out there, right? So I think it's, and I feel like a lot of people in, I think probably my age group, I feel like have gone away from Facebook and focus on LinkedIn, right? Because we're very generally business focused, again, in this demographic that I'm in. So I feel like my peers are seeing that and not seeing it on Facebook. So it's, again, tough because there's so many, like if you can get it out on Snapchat, that's going to reach a demographic that Facebook and LinkedIn isn't going to reach. Instagram definitely is reaching probably a similar demographic to Snapchat. They all kind of reach their different pockets of individuals. Have I seen a lot of success with social media? I haven't, but I haven't done the measurements either. I haven't done the metrics.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty important if you're going to make a statement that, oh yeah, this is working. That's not. Well, until you have the metrics, then you don't know. And there are ways to get it. I just, that hasn't been in my wheelhouse necessarily during my term as president. I've just been trying to be everything for a long time, and happy to have help this year. So maybe that'll be something we look at this year and say, hey, what was working, what's not working, and what can we do differently? Because that's really a question we should be asking every single day, and then look at our strategic plan and see if we're actually doing it right. So,
I noticed on Facebook, there's no place when you describe yourself, there's no place about like volunteer groups or anything like that versus LinkedIn, which is, of course, you can say pretty much anything about what you're doing. But that is a great idea. We do Instagram and Facebook. And we really, the goal was to promote our club to the community. And it's been working really, really, really well. But LinkedIn, I'm not working anymore. So other than referring to realtors. So as a result, it's not in my wheelhouse, but I think it's perfect. I can just see how important it is in your demographic.
Well, Bo, you've done a wonderful job and look forward to seeing more wonderful things coming out of Blackstone Valley. This should be really exciting. Is there one particular goal that you and Lynn have for the coming year that you want to share?
I think our goal has been consistent, and that's really just, getting members that are engaged and engaging. And this is the important part, engaging the members that you have, right? So if you're not engaging those members that you have and you're focused on the new members, well, you're going to lose the members that you have. So just reaching out individually to each and every member. And then of course, always just getting that effort of getting everybody to bring guests to our meetings. And hopefully they see how much fun we're having and how much fun it can be to serve your community and your world, right, Ken? So it's, I think that will remain to be our focus. And I think that's the safest thing to focus on, just because, you have engaged members and new members, and you have a club. So I think everything else will fall into place because you'll have the members to really, because if you're truly listening to your membership, you'll do what they want to be doing, right? So you're going to have a member that's going to be, into food insecurity and wanting to help in that category, a member that's going to want to do environment. And you need to make sure you're positioning your club in a way that says, hey, yes, we're going to do this, this, and this for food insecurity, this, and this for environment, and whatever this person over here wants to do, we're going to also do that, right? So, and we're going to spread that out across the course of the year, and let's all have fun doing it, and let's all help each other do what we like to do, right? And how the way we like to help our communities. So I think that's the key.
I love it. Great. And Mary, do you have any final questions for me?
I've enjoyed the conversation so much, Bo. I really look forward to meeting you at these meetings, and thank you so much. Thank you for your service, and thank you for your leadership and your attitude. And it's awesome.
Well, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it. Great to meet you all.
Great. Thanks,
And great
everybody.
to see you, Joyce.